This is a super duper ultra rare twin turbo V12 abandoned Brabus. Now this car was wrecked, abandoned, and it was gonna rot away, but luckily it's gonna be saved. Usually this is the part where I say, I bought another car, but no, not this time. Let me explain. I was driving up the street the other day, right next to my house, and I saw this S600 just sitting covered in dirt. And instantly I thought S600, and it reminded me of the very infamous video on YouTube with 1 billion views with the straight piped V12 Mercedes with the same engine as a Pagani. And then I looked at the other side of the car and I saw a Brabus badge, and I thought, there's no way there's a twin turbo V12 Brabus just sitting in my neighborhood collecting dirt. So I had to do my research. I had to figure out who owned that car, and what do you know? Our neighbor Micah owns it. So we called him and asked him, what's up with this car? What's the story? So he brought it down, and now we get to showcase it with you. Now you may be asking yourself, what the hell even is a Brabus? Don't worry, let's talk about it. And I guarantee by the end of this video, you're gonna be searching for one yourself. Okay, let's catch you up to speed on what Brabus is. Brabus is a German high-performance automotive aftermarket tuning company founded in 1977. They do Mercedes-Benz, Maybach, Porsche, and smart vehicles. Their main goal is to maximize performance involving increasing horsepower and speed. Customers can either buy cars from Brabus or send them their cars to be customized and or overhauled. Brabus also offers cosmetic mods like body kits, carbon fiber bits, multi-piece alloy wheels, exhaust systems, 12-piston disc brakes, tunes, and so much more. But the main takeaway is that Brabus is mucho dinero. Only the highest of society can afford these vehicles. Unless you buy a cheap abandoned wreck high mileage one like in this video. So this is my neighbor Micah. He just picked up this car. This is your first Mercedes. You went straight to the top. Twin turbo V12.
Gotta go big or you gotta go home, man. This is the only way to do it.
Yeah. Let's hear a little bit of story about this car.
So I was personally good friends with the previous owner of this vehicle. It got sideswiped while it's parked out on the street after he owned it for roughly a year, and he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. He said $1,000. I said, when can I come grab it? And now it's my prom. So we're gonna be fixing this up over the period of the next couple months, and it'll be a good project.
So $1,000 is just asinine to me. I mean, that's so cheap for any car, and no blown engine, no blown transmission, knock on wood. It's a running, driving vehicle. It does have a few problems, but nothing Micah can't fix. Now, Micah, you're a professional mechanic, you're trained, you know what to do. What exactly are you trained in?
So I graduated from Universal Technical Institute for bodywork. I didn't get into the bodywork industry, but I do have all the professional training there. I actually went into the mechanical industry and I spent about 3 years there. Worked as a mechanic for the majority of that, and then helped run a shop for the last 6 months before I got out of the industry. So this car makes perfect sense to me. It's nothing I haven't seen before. It's just, because it's a Brabus, it's a one of 125. Sourcing parts and making things work is a little bit more complicated, but if you're creative enough, you can solve any issue.
So let's back up a second. You said a 1 in 125. So that's very rare. And this car is a 2004, so it's been 20 years. I mean, how many of these are still on the road?
That is a great question. I don't think anybody knows. I would assume the majority of these remained in Europe. It's not an import vehicle, but because of its rarity and the fact that Brabus is a German brand, I can't imagine many of them ended up in the United States. And I can imagine there would be more than 2, including this one, in the entire state. So it's really anybody's guess on how many of these things even exist.
So Brabus is a very special package that you get to your car, and this is like the creme de la creme car to get a Brabus package on. How much was this car brand new?
So this would have been around 230 grand, including the car. The Brabus package alone is about $57,000 from the research that I've done personally. In terms of sticker price, this one I could see sitting at about 225 when it was brand new.
So back in 2004, that was a whole lot of money. I mean, that's still a whole lot of money today. And Brabus is not a oh, you know, you go down the street, get a Brabus package. What's the process to get this Brabus? If you bought this brand new in California, what would you have to do?
You'd have to give it to Brabus themselves. And again, they're a German-based company. So these would have had to be shipped off to Germany as far as I'm aware. And that $230,000 is not including shipping. So these people would have been spending a lot of money just to get the car over to them in order to get the tune and all the other modifications.
So obviously an assload of money has been put into this car, but how much are they worth today?
So in terms of the value of this vehicle, because there's so few on the road, it is hard to say. So again, I did buy this for $1,000, but because there's only 125 that were ever made originally, the sky's the limit in terms of the value of this car as soon as it's restored properly.
So based on the way I look at it, it's worth whatever someone's willing to pay. And when it comes down to such a rare, unique car with a ton of money behind it, this is a collector's gold mine right here, because a modern day Brabus cost an arm and a leg, and this is a vintage, well-optioned car. I mean, if you're a collector and you just have tons of money and you want this car, you'll pay whatever the seller wants for it. So I think something like this, 5-10 years down the line, it's gonna rise in value more than you could imagine, if you could even find one. So of course, when it comes to picking the value of a car, you gotta look at, you know, what's wrong with it. So what's wrong with this car?
Oh boy, so this is gonna be a fun segment. So this vehicle was sideswiped. This trunk damage here is unrelated. This is because of a rusted hinge. This is easy. This is gonna be the easiest part of the whole car, I can promise you that right now. As for the rest of the vehicle, we have a rat's nest of wiring in the trunk because it did have an aftermarket sound system in it that was ripped out. So we're gonna need to figure that out. All right, so this right here is the rat's nest of all rat's nests. It is completely torn apart. We have the whole trim on the trunk here pulled off because we have all sorts of just loose connections and all sorts of aftermarket stuff put back here. Now this does have a fantastic feature back here. It has a Playboy bunny in the trunk because of course this is the Pimp Mobile. There's only 125 of these, and you know what they say, 4 doors for more whores.
Yeah, a bumper sticker right there. You got to realize that the people who had that kind of money to put into a sedan back in the day and get the Brabus thing was pimps, drug dealers. I mean, this is the badass car because a pimp or a drug dealer doesn't want to go in a luxury car that's slow. They want something with a twin turbo V12 that you push the gas pedal and you just go. They got cops to evade. They don't have time to wait around.
And let me tell you, this thing picks up and it starts moving. It will not let off until you do. All right, so this is the side swipe damage. Unfortunately, it did catch the door. It did shove this quarter panel in a lot further than this. This has since been pulled out. I just kind of took the wheel off in my driveway, laid on the floor and beat it with a hammer, because what else are you gonna do, right? So as of right now, we're gonna call this 60%. It did damage these Brabus monoblock wheels. This tire does have a hard time maintaining air. That is another part of the project that we will be getting into. But for the most part, it's not that bad. I've seen much worse condition salvage vehicles. And again, it does run and drive. So as far as I'm concerned, this isn't a headache. This is just another step to the process.
Once again, this isn't a wheel that you just go find a replica of. This is a Brabus wheel. This is part of the originality of this car. I mean, this has to be repaired. There are no other options. Those are things you got to really consider when restoring a car like this.
So part of the Brabus package was these ridiculous brakes. These are 8-piston front, 4-piston rear brakes. This kit alone from Brabus is $15,000. So hopefully I don't have to replace anything here for a little while.
What's this little spike right here?
That's just for the valve stem. Yeah, it's just a little cover.
So the valve stem goes right into one of the bolts.
This car has all sorts of weird little gimmicks on it, and it'll be interesting to see what I can find that is easy to get.
So these bumpers look a little bit different. Are these Brabus?
So the front and the rear bumpers, as well as the side skirts and side skirt lighting, is all from Brabus. So you are not going to be able to get these anywhere else.
The beautiful part about this car, the power plant, a twin turbo V12. I mean, it doesn't get more ridiculous than that.
So this thing is 5.5 liters of Autobahn shredding horsepower. It puts out about 580 180 crank after the Brabus tune.
Guys, that is a lot of horsepower today. In 2004, that was unheard of. This was like the only option to get that kind of power. With 580 horsepower and 660 foot-pounds of torque from Brabus, I would say it's probably a pretty conservative tune. I mean, it's a twin-turbo V12. I'm sure there's a tuner that could get this thing up to, 800.
As far as I'm aware, the sky's the limit with the tuning as well. I haven't seen any modified twin-turbo V12 Mercedes aside from this. So there is always options to have more power.
Okay, we've seen that. Now let's look at the luxury behind the top-of-the-line S-Class in 2004.
All right, so now we're on the interior. All of the wood that you see here is actual wood. No manufactured garbage in the entire interior of this vehicle. We have proper leather seats, all sorts of extra stitching along the dash and the door sills and the steering wheel. Everything in here is as premium as you could buy in 2004. As you could see, all of the headliner, even the cover for the sunroof, this is all suede Alcantara. The B pillars, A pillars, every part of this car, they went all out. So after checking out this vehicle, I knew I had to save it. It had too much going for it. It's going to take a lot of time, money, and effort, but I had to take this car under my wing and fix it up back to the way that Brabus intended for it to be.
Now, this is a true gangster car. I mean, this is the top of the line. People who buy this car are getting chauffeured in this car. So I'm sitting in the back. Look how much legroom I have. I mean, I'm so comfortable, and it gets even better. Look at these buttons, these seat controls that I have in the back seat. Now, you look at that and you think, oh, I can control the back seat. You can with that switch. This switch right here moves whoever's in the front. So me, as the back passenger, I can move the person in front back and forth. I can totally annoy them. I could do whatever I want because I'm the boss. I tell them what to do. And it gets even better than that. We have heated and cooled seats for the rear right here, guys. This is a 2004 model with heated and cooled seats for the rear. Even Lenny's piece of shit 5 Series doesn't even have that. In my opinion, I think that this interior as a 2004 model is nicer than a brand new C-Class. Okay, enough yapping. Let's get this thing out on the road.
Okay, we're about to take this thing out for a spin. I am more than excited. I'm super stoked because apparently this thing is faster than shit. It's like it's a mix because it's a driver's car, but it's also not a driver's car. It's a passenger's car.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I mean, it just picks up and it goes. And,
damn, dude.
Like there's 60 right there. One finger on the steering wheel. We got 80 right there.
Holy shit.
Raising the suspension back up. Got a little bit of rubbing from that quarter panel, but
dude, this thing, it moves like, I think the word, what'd you use the word to describe last time?
This thing pulls like a freight train. So there's from 60.
Oh my gosh.
And it just rips. Yeah, this car is about as much fun as you can find for $1,000, let me tell you.
Oh, little tire spin there.
Tires,
holy shit.
Comfortable as can be.
Damn.
And of course, all this has been done in Mexico. On a tire rubbing right now.
That noise you hear in the background is the bent up quarter panel rubbing into the edge of the tire. So hopefully we don't pop that tire.
It's okay if we do. I got 3 others, 75% is a passing score in my book.
C's get degrees.
That's right.
Okay, super interesting build. I'm super invested in this. Where can people watch you fix this?
So I'm on Instagram and YouTube as Fastest Prius.
There will be links in the description, the comments, everywhere for you to go watch Micah as he brings this car back to life. I want to thank Micah for allowing us to showcase this car to you guys. The moment I saw it, I thought I just had to share it. Whether it gets a lot of views or no views whatsoever, it's just, to me, a very special car. And this is just yet another example of just such a unique, special V12 car that he picked up for $1,000. I mean, so dirt cheap. It's got his handful of problems, but I have faith that he'll fix it. Now, if you like this video, make sure you smash the like button and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next episode.